Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys, and today we're going to talk about the JB4 Maps for your 3.0T. This applies for the Luxe, Premium, Signature Editions, Silver Sports, pretty much if you're the 300 horsepower version. Sorry Red Sports, this video is not dedicated to you guys. But before I get into the video, guys, please add me at Boost in Motion on IG. This is where a lot of people send me questions. It's a lot of questions, but I take the time out to try to respond back to all of them because it's hard to make videos for just only single questions. But otherwise than that, guys, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so before I get into the video, guys, I have to explain to you guys some of the basic boost targets, alright? So our factory ECUs sends out a certain amount of boost because we have turbo cars, right? And for the 300 horsepower versions, the max amount of PSI our turbos usually go from ECU are right around 9 to 10 PSI. This applies for your elevation. This also applies for the ambient temperature outside and or the fueling that you're using for your car. So for California dudes, because shout out to a few of my subscribers and followers ask me and say, Boost, when you tell us about things, you don't talk about California kind of restrictions and stuff, certain stuff like that, because California usually have a lot more harsh restrictions and less fuel and octane out there. And I say, well, usually most cases I try to make these videos for the 49 other states that don't have all of these restrictions. So I'm sorry, California dudes, but shout out to all you guys. But just try to keep right around, take this with a grain of salt. Otherwise than that. Alright, so the JB4 allows you to add a certain amount of PSI, +1, +2, +3, +4. That's what you see when you add that on top of the stock boost. Now, our peak PSI for our 300 horsepower versions are right around 4,500 to 5,500 RPM. That's when you get 10 PSI. Now, when I spoke before in the past from the STILLEN article, they have stated that the good optimal efficiency of these turbos is right around 18 to 19 PSI, right? ECU Tech and tuning is completely different, but with JB4, right around, that's the safe PSI to stick with, and that's what you got, all you guys should stick with. Now, there's different maps. You have map 1, map 2, map 5, and map 7. These different maps have a certain amount of PSI above stock. So JB4 took their time out to data log, and those already made maps, sorry for the background noise, those already made maps. So for instance, let's take map 7. This has boost targets of peak of 7 PSI. Usually that 7 PSI peak is right around the mid-range. And with JB4 Burger Tuning, remember, the Burger Tuning JB4 device is a boost controller, not an actual tune. It goes off the stock ECU tune and stock fuel trims, but it's completely safe, and me and a lot of others can comment below that does really good job on a stock car and a modified car. Stay away from full downpipes with JB4. Please don't do that. Stop doing that. Only one guy don't do that. Shout out to you, bro. Your car's fast, but everyone else, stay away from it. But anyways, otherwise than that, guys, it usually tapers off from 7 PSI to a lower +5 or +6, right? So if you guys, depending on where you live, Burger Tuning usually do a lot of their dialoguing device on a 91 fuel. So if you live somewhere where it's 93 fuel, you really won't have these fuel restrictions. So if you live right around an area that has 93 fuel and up above octane, you can run map 7 safely. Now, for some of you guys that are around the 91 fuel area, whatever the case might be, Burger Tuning took their time out, and usually they do this little E20, E30 mix. This just allows you to add E85 to the 91 fuel to bump up the octane level of the 91 fuel, so you can be able to run more PSI. Because when you run more PSI, you increase the temperature. Well, when you increase the PSI of air, pretty much oxygen, you also increase the temperature. And if you increase the temperature, you'll be more prone to knock and pre-detonation. You guys don't want that. So if you do live around 91 fuel with E85, the rule of thumb is 3 to 5 gallons of E85 to a full tank of 91. You can also apply this to 93 fuel to bump up the octane a little bit more, but otherwise than that, you don't really necessarily need to do it, but a lot of people do it. Otherwise than that, now some of you guys are gonna ask about what some of the map 6 settings of the 300 horsepower version. Now, if some of you Red Sport guys are watching, because you guys are gonna get confused, you are not doing what I'm gonna tell you to do in this video and apply it to your Red Sport. It's not the same. Check that other video out, okay? Because your boost targets are higher. You can't use the same boost targets 3.0Ts use because we have less shorter or smaller boost targets. So anyways, So my rule of thumb is if they can run map 7 pretty safe and you're data logging the car, you can check some of my older videos, but I'm gonna make a new video about data logging. You start off with 7 psi, okay? Map 7 on a 3.0T with 93 fuel and above, or 91 with E85. With 91 fuel only, I would not do this because you'll be more prone to knock, especially on your elevation and the ambient temperature outside. It just all depends. But this is why data logging is very important. Now, you can start with plus 7 psi, right? That's usually going to be right around 3,500 to about, to about 6,000 RPM, okay? 3,500 to 6,000 RPM. You run plus 7, all right? Now 6,500, put it to either 6 or 5. This is with me having the car for so long and data logging. Give it a shot. Make sure that you're data logging everything and everything looks proper, right? Now, for some of the people who've been doing this for quite a while, some of you guys have run plus 8 on your 3.0T. This is for 300 horsepower versions. I gotta keep saying that. Once again, data log it. See if the timing ignition comes up. And for some of you people who actually run plus 9 on 93 and up, and or what I recommend, if you're running plus 8 into 9, you should be running an E30 mix or some kind of octane booster or boostane. This allows you to be less prone to knock because now you're pushing about 18 to 19 psi depending on where you live and the elevation and everything. So guys, if you live in a higher elevation, you're not going to hit boost targets of 18. You're probably going to hit 16. So you guys have it a little easier. But for some places like me, I live close to sea level, I'm hitting 18 to 19 psi at my peak. Now, for some of you guys are going to notice is after about 5,000 to 5,500 RPM, your stock boost targets are going to taper. They're going to just taper because that's what it is. It usually comes from about 10 or 9 to right around 6 psi. And that will bring your achieved boost to right around 14, maybe 15 psi when you're at 6,500 and then you change your gears or your car shifts the gears. Is this safe? Yes, you can do so as long as you're data logging the car and making sure the car is running right. Now, the biggest issue that 3.0Ts have compared to the red sports is we have, I would say from Infiniti, we have a more laggy transmission. Where in the red sports, they have more definitive and refined shifting, like their Sport Plus mode. Some silver sports will have Sport Plus mode, which won't really affect you guys that much, but regular luxes and premiums, you'll notice if you have JB4, that if you let the car shift itself, it takes a little while to shift on its own. It's like it's just laggy. So some of you guys are like, how do you fix this? You really can't with JB4. Not at all. We don't have access to the torque tables and ways to pretty much finicky or adjust the amount of shifting that goes into the transmission. You get that with an actual tune. So that's why some people, I would recommend you guys shift your own gears. I have an old video up here too, or you can go to my 0 to 60 S6 video where I talked about what RPM I shift my car at and how it helps me not run into those laggier shifts. Because I've proven in the video that if on JB4, if you shift your own gears, you actually bring down your quarter mile times rather than let the transmission do it itself because it's already laggy. Okay? And also, this is better for your car too because you're not having the transmission, sorry about that. They don't have the transmission pretty much slipping, whatever the case may be. Because whenever you're shifting gears, right, you gotta understand that the transmission is shifting from one clutch pack to another. And if it's slipping, that actually heats up the ATF over time. And also brings up the temperature of the clutch patch. So you don't want that. So my recommendation, guys, shift your own gears. Learn how to shift properly. Try to get to the point of knowing and timing it properly that you won't run into none of these issues. So otherwise than that, guys, sorry for making this video so long. If you want to contact me at boostinmotion@gmail.com. You can also add me at boostinmotion on IG and boostinmotion on Facebook. And you can also ask me questions there also, guys. So I appreciate the time you took out to watch my video. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you, guys. Love y'all guys so much, man. Y'all don't even know, man. Thanks. Have a good day.